Hey everybody, how's quarantine? Huh? Alright, I'm gonna assume it's going great, that everyone's good. Alright, so today I got something a little different for you. We got a lot of requests from people that were having to stay home with their no good kids and wanted like, what can I do with these kids? It would be, exercise, a little bit engaging. So this here is a game. When I was a personal trainer, I would go to people's homes and I found this game to work really, really well. It's the most popular game I had where I could get the parents active and the kids active and everyone had a good time. And so I'm going to walk you through it here. You can just steal it from me and, have a good time with it. All right, so here's what we are doing. If you're familiar with the drinking game, King's Cup, we are taking the same rules from that, and instead of drinking, we are retooling them for exercise. So all you need is a deck of cards, a little bit of space, and you're going to need to make some notes here. You're going to want to write these rules down. I'll put them in the description of the video, but it's going to be helpful if you kind of write them out here. So I'll walk you through each one real fast. It'll take about 10 minutes to make these notes, and then you're set. Just find a deck of cards. Okay, so here's how it works. You're going to sit the deck of cards down in the middle, and you're going to draw a card. When it's your turn, draw one card, and that card is worth something, if you're not familiar with King's Cup. So for example, if I draw a 2, this should be the first thing in your notes, is you're writing 2 equals. A 2 is you get to pick somebody, and that person has to do 10 up-downs really fast. So they have to lay down and stand up real fast, right? So if I draw a 2, I scan the table and I'm picking Hannah. My wife gets to do 10 up downs, and then she glares at me because, and then she has to do the up downs. There we go. If you draw a 3, if I were to draw a 3, then I have to do 10 up downs. I don't get to pick someone else. I have to do those 10 up downs. Again, we're just laying down and standing up as fast as you can. If a 4 is drawn, a 4 means all girls must do 30 seconds of mountain climbers, right? So 4 turns over, 4s are girls. All right, so 5 is what I call Dance Simon. Dance Simon is, so if I draw 5, I get to do a dance move, some ridiculous Carlton-looking dance move, whatever. The person to my left now has to do that dance move and add their own. The person to their left has to do my dance move, the person before them, and now add a third dance move. This continues like this. Every time it goes to the left, you have to do all the previous dance moves and your own. And, have fun with it is the idea. And it can go around multiple times. So eventually, towards the end, you got to remember all those dance moves, and it's kind of fun. But the person who messes up the rhythm loses. And if you lose, you have to do 10 I'm a Stars. I'm a Star is just as much fun as the dancing. And I'm a Star, we do a version of it in the gym, but we don't do the real hard, horrible version. The real hard, horrible version is you put your feet together, and with both hands you reach down and touch the ground. And as you stand up, instead of standing, you jump. And in the air, you make a star with your body. So your arms are out wide, your legs are out wide in the shape of a star. And when you're in the air, you have to yell, I'm a star, every time. Right, so you touch the ground, you jump, I'm a star. I'm a star. I'm a star. 10 of those. That's a ton of fun. It's horribly embarrassing and it's very tiring. All right, so that was 5. That was Dance Simon if you lose Dance Simon. Now, a 6 is all guys must do mountain climbers. Earlier, when the 4 was girls, right? Now, a 6 is guys. They've got to do 30 seconds of mountain climbers. 7, as soon as a 7 is drawn, everybody needs to put their hands in the air as fast as possible. That's 7 to heaven is the idea. If a 7 comes up, hands go up. The last person to get their hands up, they weren't paying attention or they were slow on the draw, they forgot what 7 was, then the last person has to go run up and down the stairs 5 times. Be safe about it, obviously. And if you don't have stairs, you can run to the mailbox and back or come up with something, but the person, you gotta get your hands up. And if it's close, if it's like, man, it was one of y'all, I'm not sure who got their hands up last, then they both lose. Right? If they can't make up their mind about who lost, they both gotta go do it. All right. Next is 8. If you draw an 8, 8 is, so I draw an 8. Me and someone I choose have to do bear crawls for 45 seconds. So it's the 2 of us together doing bear crawls for 45 seconds. 9 is rhyme time. 9, so the idea is if I draw a 9, I get to pick a word, say book, and the person to the left of me has to rhyme with that. They go look, and the person to their left has to rhyme with that. And this continues around in order. Continue rhyming. If someone doesn't rhyme or repeats a word or can't think of something, then they lose. And the loser on rhyme time has to do 20 squat jumps. So, if you want to be really mean, right, if you draw a 9, just say like, purple. There's nothing rhymes with purple, and the person to the left of you loses. Yeah, it's a veteran trick there. Okay, next is categories. If you draw a 10, 10 is categories. Now, the way categories works is I get to say a category. For example, I'll draw a 10, I get to, cereals, right? Now, every person has to start naming a cereal. So the person on my left says Captain Crunch. Raisin Bran, the next person's Kicks, the next person's whatever. And we're going to keep going around like this until someone either repeats something that's already been said, that loses, or you can't think of something and you mess up the rhythm. So it gets to you and you're like, then you lose. That's it. We also had to make it a rule that you can't do variations of the same brand. For example, if I say Captain Crunch, the person on the left of me can't say Peanut Butter Captain Crunch. That's not allowed. But if you lose categories, you have to do handstands for 45 seconds. Now, if you don't want to do a handstand, and a handstand's against the wall, so your feet are against the wall, you're standing there for 45 seconds. Other options would be like a down dog type thing, or any other exercise you want to. We're getting towards the jacks. So if a jack is drawn, jack is bad. Everybody loses. So everybody loses, and we all have to do 20 lunges. Jacks are bad. Next is queens. If a queen is drawn, Q is questions, right? So if I draw a queen, the first thing I have to say is a question, and no one can say anything that's not a question, right? So I might say like, queens are questions, right? And the person to my left, now you're supposed to go in order, but people naturally talk out of order, which is not an advantage, because if you say something that's not a question, you messed up. So I might say, queens are questions, right? And if the person to the left of me was paying attention, they know like, are we almost done playing this game? They say something like that. Someone will mess this up pretty quickly. And if the person who says something that's not a question has to do high knees for 30 seconds or push-ups, right? Either way. King is the most fun one. It's making a rule. So if you draw a king, you get to make a rule that is good for the rest of the game, basically. Now, I'm going to give you some rule ideas, so give you some that I've had some success with, but here at the end. But just know if you could draw a king, you have to make a rule, and multiple rules can be in effect at the same time. So in my rule that I make, someone else draws a king later, that rule just gets added onto it potentially. It can be a ton of fun if you really have fun with it. And the last one is a waterfall. A jumping jack waterfall. So if I draw an ace, the way it works is we all start doing jumping jacks fast. So speed, jumping jacks, fast, fast, fast. Now, since I drew it, the person to my left has to continue doing jumping jacks until I stop doing jumping jacks. Now they have permission to quit. They can keep going if they want to. And the person to their left can't stop until they have stopped, right? So essentially, you are at the mercy of the person to the right. If the person to the right of you wants to keep doing jumping jacks, you like it or not, you're doing jumping jacks till they decide to stop. Now, I should mention, I had to create limits on this because I had two brothers that were like 8 and 10 or whatever and doing this jumping jack thing, and one of the brothers was like doing his jumping jacks. He's like, I'm never stopping. I'm doing jumping jacks forever. So I say, look, okay, 2 minutes maximum on jumping jacks or something. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day. But that's the idea. It keeps going around until the last. And if you're last in line, you'll be doing jumping jacks for a little while. Okay, so that's 2 through A, all the different cards, what they're worth. Now, I want to give you a few notes about how to play the game. This is going to save you that I had to learn the hard way. One is that the loser is obviously exercising, right? They lost, they got to do this exercise thing. But the winners need to be exercising too, just something not so hard. So typically what I would do is when the person who lost is exercising, the winners have to either do jump rope or pretend a boxer's warming up, or even just marching in place, exaggerated marching. Crunches or planks work okay. Another one I like is like a hacky sack, kind of like it looks like an Irish folk dance where you're bringing your leg up like you're doing this hacky sack idea. Something to stay moving so you're not just standing there while only one person's exercising. Okay, now here's some rule ideas if you draw a king. Now remember, you could look up other rules potentially, but these are some that I had a good time with. So one is, here's a rule. I draw a king, I say, okay, if you laugh, then you can't show your teeth. You have to laugh like that. Which will happen, people start laughing, and it's just even funnier to watch everyone laugh without showing their teeth. Of course, if they break the rule, you catch someone laughing without their teeth, now they have to do, the idea is if you lose, you break a rule, it's a small punishment, it's nothing bad, you broke the small rule, the king rule, and if you break the king rule, you have to do 15 sit-ups or 15 seconds of planks, and then give the king a compliment. Right, so that's the idea. It's like, oh, here's my 15 sit-ups because I showed my teeth when I laughed. You know, with the sit-ups, you say, Adam, I love your long dancer's legs, or whatever. There's some kind of compliment after you've done the 15 sit-ups. Other rule ideas would be if you touch something that gets, so we had at one place I was at, they had a dog that was always running around. We said if you touch the dog, there's a penalty. But it could be anything. It could be if you touch your phone, if you touch this chair, if you touch the doorknob. It could be something that touches all the time. But if you touch that thing, you have to make an animal sound. So the idea is that you touch the dog, it's like, uh-oh, before I touch the dog, now I have to make an octopus sound or something, right? You have to make an animal sound before you touch this thing. Another one I had done was if someone touches your phone, the rule is if someone touches their phone, they must compliment their person to the left, right? So you're constantly giving compliments out to people. Another fun one, when you're drinking, there's one called Thumb Master. The idea is when people are drinking, you casually put your thumb up at the table, and you're just waiting for it. You're just keeping an eye out, and everybody needs to notice you doing this. The last person to put their thumb up loses, right? So you can do thumb up, but we also did it with your hand in your pocket. So you say, okay, I'm going to put my hand in my pocket, and that's the Thumb Master, right? And the last person that notices, or the last person gets their hand in their pocket, loses, right? And so yeah, that's the idea. There's something that they got to casually notice, and if they mess it up, they lose, and they gotta do the sit-ups. That's a fun one because you can throw it in anytime you want to, and when people aren't really paying attention, finally someone notices that you've got your hand in your pocket or your thumb up, and everybody is in a panic to not do it last. Another fun one I found was if you're laughing, you have to swing your arms like you're running, like this, which is really fun if you get both of those going at the same time, where your teeth are, you can't show your teeth and you're doing your arms like that. You have everybody around you going, ho, 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 ho. And so it can be a lot of fun. Another one we did was a rule is from now on we all have to refer to ourselves as we. So we are going to the restroom, like that kind of a thing. And that was a fun rule. Another fun rule was everyone gets a nickname. So it's my rule that I give a nickname to every single person. And from now on we all have to refer each other to their nicknames, or let them choose their own nickname. That can be kind of fun. Probably safe for little kids to make they choose their own nickname, right? Then another one is yeah, anyway, so that's a few I put on paper that I had a lot of fun with, but it really can be anything you want. So there we go. So you draw a card, you do what the card says, it just keeps going around like this. Now, classically, the way we would play it is you play for time. Say, okay, we're going to play for 20 minutes. We're going to put a 20-minute timer on and just go around until it's been 20 minutes. And if you want to keep going, you can, right? But I think it's easy to get, if you got some kids that are not very motivated to play some dumb game with mom and dad, then maybe it's easy to convince them, look, well, we're going to play for 15 minutes, and if you hate it, you can stop, and turns out they'll like it. If you bring an energy to it, that's a lot of fun, right? So yeah, that is the King's Cup exercise version. Feel free to chime in with other rules you have made or other tweaks on the game that you found worked well for you. I would like to hear it. And forward this video on. I know you got some friends stuck in their house that are close to strangling their kids. So, send them this link. Say, hey, try this game. It is kind of fun. And it really is fun. I gotta tell you, it depends on the rules, but it should be a good time. Okay, now, if you don't have children, I'm going to send out an exercise video that's a little simpler, that has nothing to do with kids or cards or anything, just something simple here today as well. So you can look it out for that. All right, good luck with the quarantine exercise with them kids. Have a good one.